Greg Reese from Washington, D.C. Just checking in. Feel like doing a little live stream on this epic January 6th, 2021 experience. So, I was just going to give a little recap of this trip. This is our third trip here on these. First, from my experience, the first time I heard of coming to D.C. was in Arizona when we were there with Alex Jones. And Alex Jones said we got to go to D.C. And then about, I don't know, it was a couple weeks after that, was in November when we went. Probably over 1 million people. Then back December 12th. And then this trip. We knew this trip was going to be epic. This is the first time that I know of in American history where the president actually called patriots to come to the Capitol and support America first. So we knew it was going to be pretty epic. We were very excited. And our first night with our interview with General Flynn was friggin' amazing. So we got off to a really good start. Had a great interview with Roger Stone. And then just hanging out in the room with Roger Stone and General Flynn and talking to him off camera, there was a lot of hope, positivity. Seemed it was a great first night. And then today started off all good. We kind of knew what was going to go on. We knew that Jones may or may not speak. We heard last night that Trump said he wanted to be the only one to speak, so we kind of expected that Alex wasn't going to speak. And then we were told that Trump wanted Alex to lead the march to the Supreme Court, and it was all planned out. About 20 minutes before Trump's speech was over, they escorted Alex from the second row in the ellipse that he was in, escorted him out the side where he met up with the rest of us, and then we started grouping a bunch of people on Pennsylvania Avenue, and then we headed down to the Supreme Court, to the Capitol building, and our plan was to kind of meet up with Trump because Trump announced that he was going to the Capitol as well. So it was all good. We're heading down there. Massive amount of people. I still got to go over the footage that we were getting, but the streets just massive. I mean, definitely more people here than the first time. This is the most people here so far. And then we got to the Capitol right in time to see just about everything. Right before we reached the Capitol, we merged with another massive row, just a massive street of people. And we all mashed together. Then we got to the Capitol. Once we got to the Capitol, we started seeing the very beginning of what happened at the Capitol building. And right from the start, we sensed agent provocateurs. It just didn't seem like your typical MAGA crowd, patriot crowd. We could see from a distance, at least, we could see a small organized group of people dressed with masks, dressed in black, your typical sort of Antifa garb, up on the scaffolding that were actually engaging with the Capitol Police. Alex got up on a stack of chairs that just happened to be there at the megaphone, and he was imploring the people. He managed to get all the people to silence, and then he kept repeating, basically, let's not do this. Let's be peaceful. Let's go around the other side. Trump is coming here to speak. We have to remain peaceful. We can't start acting like Antifa. And then once it seemed like everyone started moving around the other side, then Alex got down. We carried on. We moved around the other side. Once we got there, we could hear, as we were going around, you could hear the booms. You could hear the police trying to keep people off. You could hear the roar of crowd once they broke through the police and took the Capitol building, which is what we saw. And I have mixed feelings about it. It was actually, that's our building. That's not our our royalty senators and representatives. They're not some royalty. That's not their castle. That is a government institution that was built to serve the American people, and it's not. So it was mixed feelings because and now I can see, having looked back on the whole day, you can see how the plan was executed. It was basically as soon as Trump announced he was going to the Supreme Court, which is pretty radical considering that Alex Jones was asked allegedly by Trump to lead the march. So to bring Alex into the mainstream like that is, I think, necessary because we're the only ones really talking about COVID. We're the only ones talking about the real serious issues. So that was exciting. But as soon as Trump announced that he was actually going to the Capitol to speak, within 30 minutes, this small organized group of black-clad masked people were violently leading a crowd into taking on the Capitol Police and breaking into the Capitol. And I can understand how it was very easy for them to get a lot of people to follow along with them because, a lot of people are pissed off, rightfully so. Like I said, that's our building. If I'm not for damaging property, especially my own property, and that is our property. So I'm not supporting, destroying our government institutions. I think we should reform them, and we should bring justice, and we should bring truth and justice, severe executions, and restore the republic so that it serves the American people. So I see that. But at the same time, I don't think we're there yet. That was kind of Alex's message, is that we're not there yet. And we will try to avoid violent revolution. We'll try to go through the process as much as we can until we have to have our new Declaration of Independence, which I think is coming, and I think it's inevitable. However, I do understand and respect that we have to. That's the righteous thing to do, is to go through this process, and that's what we were going to do. We were going to have a massive crowd around the Supreme Court with Trump speaking, demanding justice. It would have been epic. But the DC swamp can't have that. The globalists can't have that. So they locked it down. The other thing that we noticed is not only did they have... Now, I've heard reports that there were buses of Antifa being escorted in through police. I haven't seen any evidence of that, but that's not surprising at all. But that's just hearsay, for me at least. If you have any evidence of that, please throw it in the comment section. We also saw that the deployment here of outside forces, not just the National Guard, but state police and everything, was Rod Skiba channel. All right, I'll check that out. The deployment of outside forces was so quick, it couldn't have been... It had to have been planned. So, I don't know, but it wouldn't. I would imagine that that's what that was the whole plan. Antifa had posters out announcing they were going to pose as patriots on the 4th, and so that's what happened. It didn't take much. All they needed was a little bit. All they needed was a little bit of violence, and now that's what they're saying. They're saying now, Trump supporters are just a bunch of violent deplorables, and we can see where this is going. But the truth is, they executed a young woman, a 14-year Air Force veteran. The videos are on band.video. There are multiple videos, multiple views, several eyewitnesses. And this is when the people were just entering into the Capitol building, a building that we all own, once again. And there is no excuse. It was an execution. You can look in the video. The woman was crawling through a window, and while she's crawling through a window, she was shot in the neck area. You can see her on the ground. She immediately started... it was brutal. I think I just heard her name, and I would like to say her name, but I don't have it off. I don't have it right off the top of my head. I want to get back and start working on a report on this woman because this should be the shot heard around the world. I mean, this is a 14-year-old Air Force veteran, patriot, crawling through a window in a crowd on to the Capitol building, and if anything, they could have. I mean, there's no excuse. It was an execution. It makes you wonder who the hell they hire for these police positions, the Capitol or elsewhere. So, and that's just today. What's happening right now? We have no idea. I imagine the next 48 hours are going to be sick. It's going to be crazy. Right now, as far as I know, Congress is now convened, and they're going over the voter fraud, and I hear reports that they're calling Pence the president. They're already talking about invoking the 25th Amendment, president's cabinet. So now we know what a lot of us have suspected for a long time, or known in our hearts for a long time, which is that we're all alone. We are all alone. President Trump, I think, is one of us. He's an American patriot. He's all alone in the swamp. No one's coming to save us. It's basically every world government has been corrupted by this cancer, by this tyrannical globalist cancer that manages to thrive because it has no name and hides in the shadows, hides behind lies. And so, and the crazy thing about this, and that's fine because it really should be all of us. We don't want someone to save us, because then what are we? Are we just pets being cared for by royalty? No. And I was on the fence about Trump for the whole time until recent weeks and months, really until since the election. It's hard for me to wrap my head around. Before, I could wrap my head around about how we're all being set up somehow. I could see it, but I mean, I don't see it now. I mean, sell that to me. How is any of this part of the plan? It would have been so much easier. You look at all the people that are wearing the masks. You look at all the people that are screaming at people for not wearing a mask, and you have proof positive that this whole thing would have worked without a hitch. They just needed more time. They just needed like 8 years of Hillary, 8 years of Michelle Obama, and it would have been done. There would have been no pushback. We would have just been slowly burned at the stake. So, anyways, but those days are over now, because now it's really just up to the people. It's time for 1776 once again. I don't know how it's going to look. I would be surprised if we wake up tomorrow and Trump was arrested or forcibly removed from the White House. Pence is now the president until Joe Biden gets in. And then it's just a very quick acceleration downhill. However, it's not that simple, because there are several reports of patriots coming into D.C. right now because people are pissed that this young woman was executed. And they're pissed that this is all going down like this. And so what's going to happen? Well, that will mean there'll be martial law declared. That means it's just going to go to hell in a handbasket. And what we're realizing now is that we haven't been there yet. Through all this clown world madness that we've been experiencing for the past 4 years, it's still been pretty nice. But you can feel it in D.C. D.C. was shut down. I'm not sure when they officially shut it down, but so they already shut it down for the Trump rally. They already shut down all the bars and restaurants, so people couldn't really eat. Shut down streets. But today it's a martial law curfew. And we witnessed right outside our hotel about 100 state police break up some people that were outside smoking and drinking. waving their Trump flags, having a good time. And they didn't just break them up. They beat them down on the street. As per Owen Schroyer, who saw it out his window. And I would imagine that's happening all over the city. So what's going on? Are they just taking out Trump supporters now? The police just taking out Trump supporters right now? Is President Trump still president? Do the American people give a shit? Because I can tell you, I know personally several people in my family and friends that I grew up with that don't give a fuck. In fact, they think that all of us American patriots are the problem. They just want to bend over and take it. And I imagine this is, I don't know how many percent of the population. I think it's more than half. I think it's by far the majority of us humans are brainwashed, mushhead, stupid, fat, drunk idiots. To some degree, we all are. You know, and I think, and the rest of us, it's not like we're smart. We just have common sense. I can tell you that my only leg up on this whole thing is that I just don't trust anyone. Never have, and I never will. And I think that's good advice. So that's not necessarily intelligence. I don't know what that is. Street smart? I don't know what it is. Survival instinct? But we're dealing with a massive, like none of this would go down if the people were, you don't even need smart. Like if it could just be if the majority of the people didn't trust people, you know, be as wise as serpents and gentle as sheep. That's, I believe, is what that's saying. You know, you can be loving and kind, but don't trust anyone because there are monsters out there. We're all at least half animal. A lot of us are half animal and half spirit. But in my experience, there are those among us that are just full on animal, and we live in a jungle, and that's why we have the Second Amendment, and that's why we have our Bill of Rights, so that we can protect ourselves against the predators and the monsters that are just basically out there feeding off the rest of us. And it's a spiritual battle. It's absolutely a spiritual battle. And none of this would be possible if it wasn't for all the fat, drunk, stupid idiots out there in America that just believe everything they're told on TV. You see it with Trump. Whether you like Trump or not, Trump is a absolute proof positive of how stupid people are, because you know for a fact that all these people out there that hate Trump and are triggered by Trump, the only fucking reason that they feel that way is because the TV tells them to. It's because their late night talk show hosts tell them to. It's because their favorite good-looking actor or good-looking actress is telling them that they don't like them. So they don't like them. So who are these people? They're our family. They're our brothers and sisters, but we are a simple-minded species. Sorry. I am pissed. But having said all this, I will say that, like I said, I was torn. Seeing the Capitol, I mean, maybe in a sense it's a foreshadowing. Seeing the Capitol building occupied by Americans, rightfully occupied by Americans, instead of these scumbags, sleazebags, sellouts that are just willing to. And you know what? Once again, I'm sorry. I really do think maybe I'm just not as compassionate as I ought to be, but the blame falls solely on ourselves, all of us. We're all to blame. We've all spent too much time fat, drunk, and stupid to some degree. But some of us are just like, a lot of us just don't seem to count in any of this, right? They just want to eat, shit, sleep, and do what they're told. And that is not the life of a human being. That is the life of a sheep. That is the life of a pet. That's the life of a slave. And maybe a lot of us are slaves. I'm starting to realize that, yeah, a lot of us don't really care about freedom. But you know what? That's not true. That's not true. It's just that we become so spoiled and living such a lavish life. Everyone in America lives a lavish life. Even the homeless people here live a lavish life. So everyone here is just so spoiled and fat and stupid that, you know, We just don't understand the reality of the world. We don't understand the jungle that we live in. We don't understand evil. So, yeah. That's where we're at. All of you that made it to DC, God bless you. All of those that couldn't make it, I understand. We have responsibilities and families. There were definitely enough people that showed up. So that wasn't the problem. The problem was that we're stupid and they're smart. And it's been like that for a long time. And they've been playing us for a long time, and they played us this time. And I'm very eager to get the hell out of DC. I'm very eager to get back to Texas, get back to my guns, and the great state of Texas. But I am also extremely curious to wake up tomorrow and see what the news has to bring, because I believe we are at the crossroads. America, I said, I posted a thing about America is falling, and someone said America has fallen. And I think that is more accurate. I do think as this is it. It's over. And so we either take it back or we just let it slide into the darkness. And if we allow it to slide into the darkness, it'll be forgotten about. It'll be eventually written out of the history books. There will never be stories of a government that allowed personal freedoms ever again until maybe after 1,000 years of darkness when we finally crawl out again. But why would we? If we can't do it now, why would we? So it's just a yeah. Someone commented Trump will be here for 4 more years. Who knows? I'll tell you what I do know is that for the past 4 years, I have been very humbled because I realize how little I know. And I don't really know. I mean, I guess I could say Alex is a very, you could say prophetic, but I don't know if that's the right word because he says it himself. He just reads their documents and looks at their white papers, and that is true, and he does a lot of that, and so he has a mind that thinks that. But aside from Alex has called a lot of this stuff. Aside from I'm digressing. Aside from him, I don't think most people know what the fuck they're talking about. We've been living in a very strange, unpredictable 4 years. Factor in the Q, factor it all in, and but I mean those. So I guess yeah. So the point I'm making is I have no idea what's going to happen when I wake up tomorrow. I have no idea. 4 more years, great. It still means war. 4 more years still means war against the globalists, or it's all for nothing. It means massive change. Nothing's ever going to be the same, which is good because we can't be living this stupid, lavish, luxury life of being stupid moron addicts. So we need to get back to hard work, a hard life. There ain't nothing wrong with a hard life. Ain't nothing wrong with busting your ass all day long and then coming home to a nice hot shower, a nice hot meal, a nice your loved ones, family, chilling out in your own space. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. We don't need these friggin' luxury items, these friggin'. So anyways, I'm sure a lot of people are feeling this too. I'm still processing it. It was just crazy seeing what's happening here. I mean, they're shutting this place down. So I guess that's it. I guess I'm still processing it. I can't say I'm necessarily pissed because, like I said, I was torn. We need to take back all these institutions. So we just have to stay ahead of this. So look, if you care about your country, which I know most of you do, then we just have to pray. We have to stay vigilant. We have to just keep pushing, and we cannot give up. We cannot make excuses anymore, because I mean, we could be selfish about it. Nothing's wrong with that. We're all selfish creatures. We could just selfishly say we want to preserve our culture and preserve our home and preserve our birthright and preserve our Bill of Rights. But we could also rise up and realize the responsibility that we have right now, that we were born with this. We were given this. We were handed, our parents were handed this. Our grandparents were handed this. And we have not done much to honor it or preserve it. At least some of us have. You know, I mean, I served my country for a few years, but then I also spent the majority of my life not getting involved in politics, you know, until I started waking up to what's really going on. So, I mean, but those days are over. I mean, if we were born with this, and if we allow it to go away, we deserve all the pain, all the abuse, and all the suffering that's coming to us. We deserve it all if we allow this incredibly spiritual form of government to be just taken away from us. Then we deserve it. The only way we're going to deserve any good life is if we take it, and if we stop these psychopaths and these control freaks from taking everything from us. So, God bless you all. That's it. I don't know what to say. Just like the rest of you, I'm very curious to what the news feed is going to be saying tomorrow. And none of us are giving up. This is really just kind of starting, actually, if you think about it. What Trump did for 4 years was wake up a large amount of the population that wasn't aware of a lot of this stuff. I could say a lot of great things about Trump. One of the things I'll say is just him waking people up to the human trafficking, to the nature of the system of bribery and blackmail, and he's just done that really through his national emergencies that he signed on human trafficking and everything like that. And fuck Q, right? But I will say this: Q, whatever it is, has woken up more like normies, whatever you want to call them. Just woken more people up to the real nature of the problem, which is, the using our children as a commodity, as a currency, and using the most heinous crimes against children as a means of blackmailing and controlling people. I mean, it's kind of, once you see it, it's kind of obvious and on the nose, but we've been trained not to see it. We've been turned into dumb zombies that don't understand basic common sense things of good and evil and life in the jungle. It's not a mystical thing. It's where we are. It's our reality. It's just that we've been spun into this matrix of lies and illusion. And everyone prefers, their addictions. They prefer their, whatever it is. That's all they want. They just want to lavish themselves in addiction and fatten themselves up and chase after their desires. And they don't want to be bothered with any of this responsibility stuff, or looking out for yourself, or having responsibility for your own life, or anything like that. So anyways, yeah, I guess I am a little pissed. And if I'm pissed, I'm not pissed at the predators or the tyrants or the globalists, because they're doing their thing. That's what they do. That's what a predator and a psychopath does, right? You can't blame them. It's our fault. We need to take out the trash. We need to deal with these monsters. We can't just sit around like dumb morons and allow these morons to rule us. So yeah, so I thought I'd get this out here while I still have a YouTube, because it'll, they're taking everyone down now. So I don't know what to say. I'm not a perfect man. I don't claim to be. So having said that, I'll say that if you are fighting for this country, if you're fighting for our birthright, then God bless you and I love you. And if you don't care, and if you're happy to see Trump go down and all Trump supporters go down too, then fuck you. All right? You don't count and you don't matter, and you're just, at this point, like a worthless piece of shit, pet, fat, drunken, stupid idiot. I don't know what to say. I imagine there's still hope. Everyone can begin to open their eyes. Everyone can see the truth. I think. I don't know. But if we do bring our country back, it's no thanks to all of you. The ones the latter I'm talking to, not the former. Did I get that right? I always get that confused. Yes. To the former, I still say I love you. God bless you. We are one. To the latter, get your fucking shit together or get the fuck out. Because we're all going down because of you. Like crabs in a barrel, you're all dragging us down. Because you know what? If it wasn't for you, if you were all, grew a set and opened your eyes and saw what was going on and gave a shit, then none of this would be happening. And that's the spiritual nature of it, I think. We're being taught a lesson. If you don't stay vigilant, and if you don't fight for your freedom, then you're going to lose it. It's the way it is. It's the way it's always going to be. It's laws of the jungle. So, anyways, I think I've said I'm going to wrap this up several times, but this time I'm going to wrap it up because I'm tired. So, thanks for tuning in. God bless America. Save the Republic.